When I was looking at colleges my junior year of high school, I noticed that one thing Penn State proudly mentioned that not a single other school mentioned was this thing called Thon. I didn't really know what it was, so I did some research and found out that it is a 46-hour dance marathon to support childhood cancer. I thought it was unique that Penn State offered something like this on such a huge scale. It changed my perception of the school and made me want to attend it more. Other schools do have Thon, but the best Thon that raises the most money is right here at Penn State. When I finally came to Penn State, I was asking my fellow freshman cohort if they knew more about Thon, and no one did. I went to the upperclassmen in my major, and they were all able to tell me that Thon was a life-changing experience that is indescribable. It was something that became a huge interest of mine thereafter. I spoke with the students that had went before, and they said you have to go to Thon. I spoke with the parents of students that had been to the event before, and they said the same thing. I knew that I had to join the PGM Thon organization and go to this dance marathon. I didn't know what to expect when I said I was going to attend Thon 2018, but I knew I was very excited to see what it was truly about. It was about 3 hours before Thon kicked off, and I had to go into the general spectator line because of a mix-up within the club. It wasn't the end of the world. I would just have preferred to go into the event with my friends from PGM. We ended up getting in just after it started. My eyes absolutely lit up once I looked through the tunnel of Section 125. Seeing an arena full of people is not what amazed me, but what did amaze me was how many people can come together for such a great cause. The Bryce Jordan Center has a capacity of 16,000 people for concerts, and there were people waiting hours to get in. That is something really special, and the fact that it is for cancer and for the kids makes it even more special. To see all the clubs, organizations, fraternities, sororities, and sports teams standing in the crowd, holding up their letters, supporting the dancers on the floor was something really cool and something I had never seen before. For the first part of Thon, the Dancer Relations team teaches us the official dance of Thon 2018. This dance is done on an hourly basis to allow everyone in the arena to stretch because sitting is not allowed in the 46-hour time period. Learning the dance was so much fun. It was one of the best moments of Thon for me. But the one moment that was probably the most special for me on the first day was when I finally got to meet Tyler Truex. Tyler is the little boy our organization sponsors and that we help fundraise money for to help him pay for his medical bills. Luckily, Tyler is on the final stages of his treatment and is a couple months away from defeating cancer. But meeting the Truex family and hearing their story was sad, yet happy at the same time because we've done so much to help them throughout this dreadful process. The Truexes told me that they considered selling their cars, their furniture, even downsizing their house so they could afford his chemotherapy treatment. But, thanks to Thon, they had not paid for a single medical bill. I alone just raised under $1,000 from friends and family, and to know it was from helping out these people I had just met made me feel really grateful. As Thon progressed, I started to enjoy it more and more just because I was truly learning what it was about and that 16,000 people are dancing for the kids and nothing else. I was super excited to see what the rest of Thon brought. The unique thing about Thon is that it never stops. It is 46 straight hours, and it is encouraged we stay for as long as we possibly can, while the dancers are required to be there the full time. I chose to go back to my dorm for the night and get some rest so I can enjoy the experience a little bit more. The next day was the pep rally, with the Blue Band. I didn't know what to expect, but once it started, it exceeded all of my expectations. Super Bowl champion Stefan Wisniewski, Jesse James, and James Franklin were notable celebrities there for this part of Thon. Each varsity sports team went out on stage and did a dance, and the crowd voted on who was the best. The Blue Band also played all the Penn State football songs, and the Bryce Jordan Center was very loud and full of energy. It was just 16,000 people having fun and enjoying the moment. Shortly after this, I ended up leaving again to get some more sleep for the final 4 hours. My friend Mike said, "You have to be there for the final 4 hours. They are the best part of Thon." So I left Thon that night saying, "This has been so much fun. How could the rest of it possibly be any better?" The next day, my life changed forever. I woke up really early because I was so excited to go. I went to the Bryce Jordan Center at 5:15 a.m., wide awake and ready to finish the 46 hours. Standing became difficult. We all began to get tired. As soon as it hit 12 p.m., the final 4 hours began. They began with introducing every single kid that was being sponsored at the event. Then, they went on to have some families tell the stories of what they had been through. This was very hard to listen to. Watching all the people around me begin to cry and just hearing how gut-wrenching it really was for some of these families was hard to process. This was not the part that changed me, though. The girl's first name was Ho. She unfortunately was not able to attend Thon because cancer got the better of her. This was hands down the hardest thing I had ever listened to before in my life. 16,000 plus people were absolutely silent, and the only thing you could hear was people crying. The tears could be seen all around from the floor to the upper level. Then, Hope's best friend went on to tell us about her stories with Hope, and that was even harder. It is extremely difficult to go up in front of 16,000 people and tell them how you lost your best friend. It started to hit me at this moment. Then, they went on to show an in memoriam of every single Thon child that had unfortunately lost their battle to cancer, and this was my breaking point. Watching all those home videos of the kids playing with their friends and families was just horrible. I, for the first time in my life, realized that I went through this too. There was a young boy named Jason Condit from my hometown. He was a sweet boy who was friends with my brother, but I knew him as well. At the time, I was only 11 years old when I found out he was diagnosed with cancer. At the time, my brain couldn't really process it because I was so young. Less than a year later, he was taken from us. I had no idea what to think of at the time, so it didn't really hit me that hard. But watching that in memoriam was where everything clicked. I couldn't handle it. I immediately thought of Jason and the Condit family and completely broke down in the Bryce Jordan Center. Knowing that I am this close to someone that had went through what all these families had went through or were going through was really hard for me. This was hand down one of the hardest moments of my life up to this point because I was just slammed with what I couldn't handle when I was younger. I didn't know how effective Thon really was until this moment. My legs were tired, but I found the energy to stand longer because that video and the realization reminded me of why I was doing this. It truly changed a person watching that video. When people say Thon is an indescribable experience, I understood why. It is something every Penn State student should experience more than once. It is that impactful. After the video, there was one more band that closed out Thon and everyone found the energy to dance and stand up to cancer for the final 45 minutes. After that, the total was announced of how much the school fundraised. We raised $10,151,663.93, all going to childhood cancer and finding ways to help out families that needed it. I felt like I had done really good that weekend, and to know that I had done good for someone else made it even better. Later that week, I found out that PGM Thon, a group with 18 people, raised $13,281. My professor, the week before Thon, told me, Daniel, I didn't know what Penn State was truly about until I went to Thon weekend. He was not wrong. That is a quote I will remember for the rest of my life. I am proud to be a Penn State student, and I understand why now they rave about it so much. It is such an amazing event, and there is literally nothing bad about it. It might be long, and towards the end, we might be complaining to ourselves that this sucks, and standing that long hurts. But the videos remind us of why we do it, why we raise money every year, and why we have organizations dedicated to this event. It is life-changing. It is for a good cause, standing up to cancer for the kids.